all you rambling, gambling dudes? Welcome back to Miku's Crackhouse. This is episode 121. I'm your host, as always, Sam Kingba, and joining me is my best friend and co-host, Myles J. Myles, Blackjack sucks. Blackjack's a stupid, shitty, lame, bullshit game.
What is your problem with Blackjack, Sam?
My problem with Blackjack is you can't fucking play it. You're not allowed to fucking play it. It's a game that is played for you, in front of you. You put up money to play Blackjack, and then the dealer just plays for you.
Would you describe Blackjack as an idle game?
Yeah, it is an idle game. Because here's the problem with Blackjack, is that every single possible option in the deck has a chance, like a percentage chance of being net positive or net negative for you. That's already like well known, and by the people who play Blackjack at a intermediate level and above think is standard to know. So because of that, you can't just like make whatever calls you want, because then people get fucking antsy because it fucks up the rest of the deck for them. Because you took out a card that wasn't supposed to have been taken out because you weren't playing optimally. And it's like, if you're gonna play the fucking game optimally, then the dealer just fucking plays it. And then it's like, then what the fuck am I doing? Then I'm just sitting at this table, maybe getting a free drink and losing like 50, 60 bucks.
I'm going to expand this a little bit. I'm going to expand on this thought a bit.
Okay.
I think that any card game played in a casino, not called poker, is gay by design.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, and it's similar to I was discussing Plants vs. Zombies 2 with a friend of mine, and we were discussing, because like, I think we both agree Plants vs. Zombies 1 is some sort of a masterpiece.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Like, it's not, it's like, you can debate the meaning of masterpiece all you fucking want. Like, that game is some sort of a masterpiece, if only at like the ability to make the most appealing casual game of all fucking time that isn't named Peggle 2.
Yeah.
Like, that game is perfect at being Plants vs. Zombies, and it's amazing that a sequel can come out that is so bad at being Plants vs. Zombies, and it's not because George Fan is a hack. Quite the opposite. It's because they all got bought out by the most hack fraud company of all time in EA. And so, like, we were discussing Plants vs. Zombies 2, and we're like, Plants vs. Zombies 2 is sort of the opposite of Plants vs. Zombies, where Plants vs. Zombies is a masterpiece of, like, casual, fun, low-stakes gameplay. Like, oh, you lost the round, just roll it back, no big deal. Like, oh, you know, you want to grind for money, there's 15 different revenue streams in the game. You got your Zen Garden, you got your mini games, you can grind out some mini games, you can do grinds on survivor mode, you can
it was so annoying, dude. It was so annoying, and it fucks the whole structure of the game.
Yeah, like,
and
that the problem is getting the 10th slot is the biggest flaw in the game, is having to get that $200,000, you know, reward from Crazy Dave. Just how much that shit costs, because then you also have to buy the other exclusive plans, the special plans, and those cost like $10,000. I think the cob cannon's $50,000, and then you got to save up for this 10th slot. Otherwise, you're not beating survival mode. Like, it's not gonna happen. But you can still grind out survival endless and get like $5,000 around. There's a thing on my shirt. Let me take it off. But then Plants vs. Zombies 2 is the opposite game. It is the perfect game at being the most annoying, like money-sucking, business-savvy video game of all time. Like, it is... Okay, if Plants vs. Zombies is poker, like Plants vs. Zombies 2 is like blackjack or craps, or just any of these other games that like require a dealer to play. They require someone whose job it is to make sure that you lose your money. That is Plants vs. Zombies 2.
It's so lame. It's so lame. I love the casino aesthetically. Thank you, Sonic, for that. indoctrinating all us kids into thinking that
that the aesthetic is a vibe.
Yeah, that like slot machines are like the coolest fucking shit ever, and pinball is dope as hell. Respect to that, but also,
well, pinball is pretty dope, but slot machines less so.
Yeah, but I remember my folks took me once. They're like, Sam, you're gonna learn what it's like. And you think, oh, the casino's gonna be awesome. Like, it's gonna be like a bunch of hot babes and shit, and like cool casino attire. No, dude, it's all fucking old people. It's all people in their 60s and 70s who have nothing else to do with their fucking 401ks.
That's literally it. And that's like the biggest scam of all time is like this idea of like retirement and saving all your money. You're not going to get to do anything with it. You're too old to travel. The matinees don't cost enough to like be a significant, like you hear how every old person will just see any movie that comes out.
No, I've actually never heard of that before.
Because matinee prices are so cheap and elderly people have so few things that they can do that just like at any matinee showing, there's an elderly person. It literally does not matter what the film is. It doesn't matter. They'll just go because they have 20 to 40 years left before they get to die, and they have $500,000 that they're never gonna burn through. So you might as well just see every film that comes out, and it simply does not matter. And so, like, you'll go to a matinee of, like, a horror film if you want, which it's a terrible idea, first of all. But there's always some old person, and they're watching the goriest film you've ever seen, and you just have to wonder if they're like, oh, dear, this isn't Casablanca. This isn't Bringing Up Baby. How you know violent.
I like those people though, because you know why, Myles? Elderly people typically aren't disruptive in the movie theater.
No, they're so polite, and they'll just watch the film, and then at the end they'll just go, "That was an okay movie," and you don't have to have a nightmare conversation. Like, I think the worst thing is finishing a movie and then walking out of the theater and then just hearing the morons and their takes as they get out of the film. When does this
happen to you, Myles? When's this happen to you? What movie did you walk out of and you heard some dumbass take?
I think, so here's the thing. A lot of the time, I don't hear a lot of dumbass takes, thankfully. Like, I don't see a lot of movies that are, like, controversial or like, divisive, you know?
Yeah, you
like,
didn't see Barbie?
Well, Barbie, I don't know if Barbie was all that divisive. I think a lot of people like that film.
I think so. I think it's more like than not, but I think some people didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, like a buddy of mine didn't like it because he thought it was just like there was just too many ideas. Like it was like trying to be 5 different commentaries, which is just every movie nowadays.
Yeah,
it's like fucking Glass Onion is like 20 different commentaries. Like, just shut up. Tell me one story before you tell me 45. Like, stop it. But yeah, like I'm trying to think because the worst one is like coming out of like a movie that you think is really great and just hearing someone be like, "Oh, stupid." Like, just because, and this always happens for like these Oscar movies, like movies that
you're literally explaining to me walking out of Oppenheimer. Although I didn't call it stupid, I was just like
that was mid. That was
a little overhyped. I wouldn't say it's mid. It's not mid at all.
You think it's good? It's overhyped though.
It's like, good to great. I just thought I was like, man, I'm not feeling the 10 right now.
That's definitely that's a Nolan thing. Like, it's sort of like a Tarantino movie. Like,
watched
even the worst Tarantino movies get a 10. You know?
I watched Tenet this a couple days ago. Good movie. I think I liked it a bit more than Oppenheimer.
See, that's the funny thing, because everyone thinks that's the worst Nolan film.
Well, you know why? It's because they're thinking linearly. They're thinking linearly. They're not thinking in multi-dimensional time. That movie was so crazy, dude. Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
So basically, the whole conceit of the movie is that there are these machines that when you enter them, you're able to enter Earth in reverse, and like people would visualize you like walking in reverse, even though like to you, you're walking normally. Except that everything around you is reversed, so like birds fly backwards and stuff. And basically they have these inverted weapons where they like shoot bullets, but they shoot backwards inverted. So you see like if you're behind glass, you shoot it, or no, you just see glass being broken, and then you'll see it start to like crackle or whatever as it like starts to form, and the bullet like comes back to the gun. Because you pull it and like the bullet like comes back to you. It's fucking it's like psychotic shit.
This is one of those movies where like only one guy could make that. Like you turn that script into a studio, and they're like, "What the fuck? What is this?"
That's apparently exactly what happened. Was he had this idea for like it's one of his like oldest ideas is like people who are able to like enter reverse time. And there's an element of the movie because it's kind of like a Bond movie. It's sort of like it's like a cool action movie with like a dope protagonist character who's super capable and is surrounded by other super capable people who have like high technology and lots of assets and resources. And there's a moment in the movie where they do a time pincer attack where Team A enters the mission forward in time and then Team B enters the mission backwards in time. So like Team A has certain key information from Team B who already went through the mission initially. Because now they're going to backtrack, they're going to inverse backtrack through it. It's like really, this is why people don't like this movie, Myles. It's because it's not an easy fucking follow. Like Oppenheimer, to introduce the character, we got to build the bomb. He builds the bomb goes off, the fallout that he has to deal with, and then the fallout of some other character that's involved in the story that's not as interesting as him. But that like it's like a simple. It's simple.
It's like a docu or a biography.
Yeah.
Film,
the intricacies of what's going on screen is really intense and intricate and complex and great. But the core conceit of the story you can follow along even if you're missing like certain scientific beats or whatever that are in there. Where like with Tenet, you really do kind of need to try to grasp the movie and how it's happening. But I thought it was a really cool original idea and a pretty sick movie. I think I'm gonna watch all his movies in reverse since I saw Oppenheimer and I saw Tenet and I'm like, would it be funny to go watch Dunkirk and then the movie? Now the big question
though is, will you watch Memento literally in reverse?
Is that the gimmick with that movie? Is that it can be watched in reverse?
Yeah, it can be watched in reverse is the gimmick. That's why it was so popular, because it was such a like, and it kind of established Nolan's thing in that he has autism, and so all of his movies are just like this really like these like technically intricate, like thoroughly plotted, occasionally stolen ideas. I mean, because here's the thing, like, everyone bullies all these American directors or, like, directors living in America, because Nolan, I think, is European, but he's a Hollywood director. I'm probably wrong about this, but he's got a funny accent, so he's got to be a foreigner. He's got to be a fucking filthy immigrant.
Must be a foreigner.
Must be a foreigner. But his movie Inception is Paprika. It's the Satoshi Kon film Paprika, and like I think Tenet and Memento like probably shows that he's probably a fan of like Satoshi Kon, because Satoshi Kon's very spatial and very like time distorting, non-linear, and so I think that's kind of a lot of his interests. And so everyone kind of for a while bullied Inception for just being Paprika. But like he's not the only one. Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan is just Perfect Blue, but worse, but significantly worse. It's so funny that everyone's like, yeah, Kimba the White Lion is such a ripoff. It's like, that's the most original. Like, Lion King is the most original of these three like stolen films, these stolen concepts from Japan.
Yeah, and even Lion King is just sort of a Hamlet.
Yeah,
sort of retelling.
there's something more stolen than Kimbo the White Lion. Because I guess the most original of these stolen films is Ghost in the Shell into The Matrix, because The Matrix is so like transformative. That's a completely different everything from Ghost in the Shell, other than the idea of like the theoretical, the self and the physical body are separate things. Like that's kind of it as far as the connections go. So like that's the most original stolen American movie. But yeah, like,
so you think The Matrix was the last original idea and not Spy Kids 3 Game Over?
Spy Kids 3 Game Over is just an isekai. Why does everyone, like, where did this meme come from? Like, because it's just an isekai. This is the most American fucking meme of all time. To think that Spy Kids is original.
But it came out in like 2006. It's the first isekai, right?
No. There's plenty of other isekais. Like, I don't know if falling into video game isekais were quite as popular, but like, there's got to be another one. There's got to be like one that's even earlier than that.
But like the understanding of isekai as we know it today, where like, because to me, like the isekai, the fantasy world needs to have some sort of like.
But you know why this is not the most original? But you know why this isn't an original idea? Because there's a fucking Albert Pune film from 1994 called Arcade that's just Spy Kids 3. Where did this fucking ignoramus meme come from? It's one of these things that just makes me irrationally mad, because like, I don't know if people are being serious or not. Because if you're being serious, you're an idiot. And if you're not, the joke isn't funny. So like, what do you gain from this? Other than my disdain, what does anyone gain from calling Spy Kids 3 the last original idea?
Oh man, come on, dude! It is funny. It is.
It's
funny.
not. It's
yes,
like,
it is.
It's not funny because it's not even like. It doesn't even make you stop to think. I guess it might be. It's just like. It's just not true. and not only that, like, you know what? You know why it's not funny to me personally? Because media ignorance is so strong. Like that when someone says that, and I have even a kernel of doubt that they might truly believe it, I just flash back to all the people who are like, where's all the anime that takes place in college or in the adult world? We need more of those. Why aren't those being made? It gives me like this fight or flight response of just like wanting to throttle them and be like, watch things! Watch anything! It's how I feel like whenever people are like, yeah man, High School Musical, now that's a masterpiece. Like, and and High School Musical is some kind of masterpiece, I will say, in a Plants vs. Zombies-esque way, like, where it's just the perfect execution of this very, like, casual, fun thing. But, like, the only people who say that are like, white girls who haven't grown up since the age of 19, even though they're 35. Like, do you know this breed of woman, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, and by the way, men have this breed too, but like I didn't encounter that breed because that breed doesn't live in Los Angeles.
It's in other regions of the states.
Yeah, like that's more of like a Midwest and like not Northeastern, but like the like Boston, Massachusetts, Northeastern, like any like metropolitan area, like the tri-state area, really not the case. But like people who live in Boston are like that forever. And so like that, yeah, like, so there's your comparison of people who like just stop growing up at some point. But Jesus Christ, man, like just, there are some opinions that I'm just traumatized by from living in Los Angeles. And Spy Kids 3 is the last original film, is one of them. And, like, people who just love, like, Hallmark movies.
Where have you heard this statement other than from my lips?
The thing is, like, it's one of these things that, like, a lot of my friends who, like, were online a lot, but, like, were industry people would say, like...
Because I read one tweet that said that, like, probably 8 or 10 years ago, and I just,
people
it stuck
have
with
kept
me.
it. People have kept it up. And like, I've heard it like 5 or 6 times from people who think it's really funny. And you know what? I think they might think they can get away with it. I think that they believe it's so obscure they can get away with it. Because I did this in
I've
college,
never
too.
heard anyone talk about it, and I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't mean to fucking trigger you, dude.
No, it's okay. You didn't know my trigger warnings. Like,
I didn't know saying Spy Kids 3 is the last original idea, which would really fucking take you off like this.
Yeah, that it's an enemy. Yeah, I mean, because in college I would like tell jokes from like comedians that I saw on like Comedy Central, and I would get caught sometimes, like stealing the joke. Like I would have a lucrative career as Rob Garcia or whatever his name is, Johnny Garcia.
I don't care if I
Gabriel
hear a funny
Iglesias.
if I hear a funny fucking joke, I want other people to hear it. Like,
yeah, but I think there's a difference between like hearing the joke and saying the joke, and like trying to get away with that, like saying,
with like claiming that it was your original idea.
Joke. Exactly.
Yeah, I never tried to do that.
No, but I was a poser in freshman year, especially. Like that was a poser era. So I definitely like, and that got stamped out of me like in 2 months after I got caught enough times where I was like, this is not worth it. It's not worth the risk of trying to get the joke, because, and by the way, they're gonna find out eventually.
Get that joke plagiarized.
They're gonna find out eventually. It's like crime, you know.
It's only a matter of time before someone just heard the joke you just already said, you know.
Yeah, and like, I think there's a difference between, because no one makes up jokes anymore. Like, not like, I mean like the true like not schoolyard joke, but yeah, like the water cooler joke, the schoolyard joke, the joke book joke. Like, people don't make those up nowadays. You know what I mean? When was the last time you heard a good feg hoot? You know?
What the fuck did you just say?
A feg hoot is like
did you say a fucking Indian fucking swear word? Like,
I believe it's a 350 word like short story type joke, right? That usually like ends in a pun or some kind of, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of these jokes where it's like a guy goes to a doctor 5 or 6 times, right? Or like the ducks, you know, the duck who walked up to the lemonade stand before it became a song.
I see.
Yeah. So those, I believe that's what a feg hoot is. I've only heard the word like 2 or 3 times, but no one makes up jokes anymore. Our podcast is the last original idea.
You know why, Myles? You know why, Myles? Because media today is all about short form shit. Like a lot of the current joke forms is about like immediacy, really snappy shit with all the vertical video content and tweets and just like looking at something for not a very long amount of time. You need to get someone's attention and make your statement and make your fucking funny joke and get out of there. There's no room for these like super elaborate long form tales for just like one bit.
Which is a shame, because like that's a lost art right there, man.
Yeah, it is.
Because those are always entertaining. I love a good one of those if it is a feg hoot, because it's just like, it's just nice to experience that level of like craft, as opposed to like some tweets that go viral. You're like, you made this on the toilet, and no disrespect, we've all done it, but like, I'm not gonna give you fucking props for this, you prick.
Anyways, I'm done talking about this. Did you fucking do anything this week, dude? Did you have fun at all, like, in the last 7 days since we recorded?
No. Anime thighs as she opened up some. I cleaned my room like a lot. Like the most I've ever cleaned my room, and it's always fun.
Good.
It's always fun to do that, because you just discover garbage that at one point in time you valued in any way, and now it's the most useless, annoying piece of shit because you can't just get rid of it. It's too big to throw out.
What'd you find in your room that?
So I found a couple. I found a couple of things where I'm just like, why do I still have this? So I found a statue that I got for my birthday. I was like, I don't know, 16, 17.
The gaming statues. What a fucking, in the long term, what a fucking con.
Yeah, dude.
That was.
The fucking disaster. So here's the thing. It was like this like Skyward Sword Link statue. That ain't.
Oh, man. Yeah, the worst fucking one.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's the worst Link design, but it's definitely the worst like game to have memorabilia for.
It's one of my least favorite Link designs, personally. I
The
really
problem is
hate
the bee sting. Yeah, the bee sting lips are so bad, just so ugly.
Yeah, and his fucking red ass face, his pinkish red ass face.
But like my big, I like the Twilight Princess art, but the 3D model of Link in Twilight Princess is so like he's got like doe eyes and his lips are so fat, but like there's no like smoothing or texture work to like help that pill go down. You're just looking at his dick sucking lips the whole game. Like the best decision they made with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom was like making sure that Link's lips weren't dick sucking lips. He just got this like his mouth is open constantly, which is weird. He's just kind of like at all times. It's like really bizarre that you just see his teeth.
Like constantly.
Yeah, like constantly. But it doesn't look bad. Like it's really odd. It's really weird that it actually like looks good. There is a Tears of the Kingdom mod to close his mouth. Because of course there is. God. But I didn't download that because I like the open mouth. I'm fine with it. I did not need it 10% bigger. But
you're an open mouth Link enjoyer.
Yeah, I'm the average open mouth, the average closed mouth Link fan, the average open mouth Link enjoyer. But anyways,
so I had Skyward Sword statue.
I found the Skyward Sword statue, and I was like, you know what? I might as well display this. I might as well display it. But the stand, inexplicably, is wrong. I can't explain this all that well, but there's a big stand that it can't be for anything else. It's got the fucking Triforce on it. It can't be for anything else. But the pins, like the pegs, are too wide for the stance. And even if they weren't, they're circles, but the connector holes in Link's boots are hexagonal. So I can't display the statue, and it's like 8 inches tall. So I can't do anything with it. So I just had to shove it back in the box and put it on the top of the closet.
Are you sure it wasn't just one of those things where, like, because I think I've seen stuff where you do have to shove, because it's like a more spherical and you're shoving it into like a hexagonal shape. Was it just not fitting at all, or was it one where it just felt like a...
The problem is that the pegs were too far apart.
Oh,
like for the legs.
See. Okay.
So you could only put it on one of the two sets of pegs, and you had to choose your peg, or else you couldn't station Link in there. I did take the opportunity to unbox some of the amiibos and display them more properly. I set up the waifu shelf, which is nice. I put them in front of my degree from college, and also my collection of rare coins. So like, it's one of the most like eclectic, nonsensical shelves of all time.
My waifus, my coins, my degree.
My college degree. Like, it's not even just like the high school diploma. No, it's the college degree. So that's the shelf.
Better where hey man, that's better than where I have my college degree, which is in my fucking closet.
Yeah, it's on like my stand. It's on my shelf above all my video games. So yeah, I did that. I took the time to organize the games, put everything away. But the one thing that I found that I think is maybe the biggest inconvenience of my entire life, but I also think it's so awesome that I just can't bring myself to hate it.
Oh boy, he's got to get up and grab it. Let's see what it is. Oh my.
The fucking Buster Sword.
Man,
Buster
without
Sword.
any materia, with no materia.
No, there's no materia in this Buster Sword. I guess I gotta get closer to the microphone. I just gotta do the George Costanza, like, the bat pose with this. And,
dude, that thing is comedically fucking big.
Oh yeah, no, this is a colossal sword, like literally.
Would you ever consider like just displaying it, like getting it up on the wall?
But I'd have to get command hooks or something that can actually hold its weight, because it's got to be like 20 pounds. And
yeah, command hooks hold up to 20 pounds.
Yeah, it's also like weirdly rickety, if you can hear that.
Yeah, I can hear that, like clunk, clunk.
I don't know why. Something's not right with it. But like, I had to leave this behind when I moved, and so it's just like been in my childhood home, and
Yeah, your parents tripping over it.
Yeah, my parents just shoved it in the closet somewhere, and now I found it, and I guess I'll try and display this, but like, I literally
get it hung up on the wall, hanging down. That'd be cool.
like that would be pretty sick. But I'm just like, I can never move with this thing. Like I would have to ship this garbage, and it would cost so much just to ship it. I'm gonna put this away.
Yeah, dude, that's the problem with moving, because I recently had to go through a big colossal state-wide move, and man, it's not fun. It's not fun. Packing up the shit's not fun. Moving the shit's not fun.
Unpacking the shit's the worst.
Unpacking sucked, dude. Getting everything situated sucked, and it's like, it felt endless. It felt like there was always some new shit that just appeared that like,
some
take
garbage
care of this too.
Yeah, and I'm definitely like, I can't explain this properly. I truly can't. But I just hate the fact that there are some things that I love having, but I know when I move, I'm gonna resent its existence, you know? Like something that's like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I would imagine like a drum owner must feel this way, right? Like, oh man, I love my drums. Dude. But then you gotta move the drums.
Or like if you owned like a nice piano.
Oh my god. Dude, a piano is like, you have to live in your mansion for the rest of your life to like buy a piano. It's always funny when you go over to someone's place and they have a piano and you just know those motherfuckers don't play it.
Oh, no. Yeah, dude, totally.
And when they move, it's going to do nothing but inconvenience them and cost them like $1,000 to relocate this useless piece of drivel.
Exactly. Most people just give it away. I remember we almost got a nice piano like that like years and years ago because some family were moving and they just were like, we're not moving this shit. Are you kidding me? Because it's so heavy. It's like an impossible fucking obelisk of fucking music. Like, you can't do anything about it.
I think the keyboard might be the greatest invention of all time. Because it's made learning how to play the piano not like this giant inconvenience for every family, especially any family who like doesn't have the space for it. Because like a piano is so big, so nonsensically big, I would say. I mean, obviously it's important to get the sound, but like it's just so big. And like if you live in like a tiny ass house and your dream is to be a piano player, like I'm very sorry. You can't do it.
Same if you're like a drummer and you like live in an apartment. It's like I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
Unless you're like fucking Francine from Arthur and you play your drums on the roof.
Yeah, like it's just one of these things where like being a musician is one of the most inconvenient occupations to move. Because you just got all this crap that is so delicate and so expensive, and especially especially if you have like sound systems or anything like that goes.
Oh, true. And Myles, I feel like we can kind of relate to this in some extent, especially when I eventually have to move again. Is because I have a ton of like recording equipment and stuff like that, and that's going to be a pain in the ass too. Because a couple of bigger items like I have bought when I've gotten down here, so now I'm gonna have to move that shit again. Like I right outside my office room, my 55-inch OLED TV for my living room came in, which I'm super fucking amped about, by the way. Oh my god, I'm so excited. It's been such a shame to have like really nice couches and a sick recliner and not be able to watch anything. Have to be on my fucking phone, my fucking iPhone.
Watch Riverdale on your fucking phone.
Yo, can I talk about Riverdale for a second?
Yeah, sure.
So there's 3 episodes to go, 2 episodes by the time y'all listen to this. And Myles, this season's kind of a disappointment, dude. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a massive disappointment, and I'm really sad about it because I thought the first like 10 episodes were really solid. But the problem is, all right, so you want some spoilers for season 7 of Riverdale?
Yeah, I don't mind.
End of season 6. They stop the apocalypse with all their superpowers, except they don't, and the villain performs one final gambit to destroy the world, so in a last-ditch attempt to save everyone. the time traveler character, decides to send everyone back to a simpler time, which was the 1950s, the night after the morning after James Dean died is when they transported back to. So it's Riverdale, but it's in the 50s. But everyone's gay still, so they have to like cope with that drama. That it's not acceptable to do this shit right now. And it's at first it was pretty cool, and it's like, oh, I get it. It's like the old comics, and they weren't really leaving any stone unturned. This has been like the most horny season of Riverdale imaginable. They're making everybody kiss everybody. This shit, they're not gonna leave any ship unsailed. Yeah. In this final season. And Myles, episode 17 of 20, we're still about the high school, like Archie's writing his poems for his fucking teacher, like, you know, Betty's doing some bullshit, she's trying to write her memoir, like, it's just nonsense. Like, we haven't even talked at all about the fucking early world. And I feel like there's no way in 3 episodes that you're going to be able to wrap up every single storyline you set up in the 50s and also meaningfully give us resolutions for all the original timeline characters. Unless we just never go back and we remain in the 50s, which I don't want that. So it's just like, I feel like they really dropped the ball, and I gotta be honest, it low-key kind of feels like a filler season.
But it feels like a finale?
As the final season feels like a filler season, dude. It's really weird, and I'm pretty disappointed by how it's all shaken out. And I'm sticking with it to the end, but I gotta be honest, like the episodes like 14, 15, and 16, I was like, or excuse me, 15, 16, 17, I was like, man, I'm really struggling to get through this right now, because it's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
So painful. Like, watching a show that you're like, this is amazing and I love this, and just watching it suck in its like final whatevers is why television is the worst medium of all time.
And also too, Myles, there's just some. Is there a TV tropes word for this? You would probably you might be able to answer this question. For like, and I'll try to do my best to explain
stomp
this.
around on like trivia, and your mileage may vary, so I will do my best. And
this can vary. This is like a multimedia style of thing. This can happen in movies and TV and games and stuff. Definitely happens a lot in games. Where like, I'll give you an example. In like when you go to like a town in like an RPG, there's like 7 NPCs and like 4 houses. But the idea is that there's like way more people in the town, and it's not literally these 7 people. Like,
yeah, and there's usually some like public space that like gives the illusion of life. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about.
And like Riverdale is kind of the same thing, where like, especially in like season 5 and 6 and a little bit, and definitely in 7, it's about like a lot of stuff is like the town. And I'm like, I think there's no more than 50 people who live in this fucking town. Like, and 30 of them are high schoolers. Like, it feels like there's the world is so fake beyond our core cast of characters, and like not really real at all. And it's a problem when a lot of the core problems are like the town is dealing with this, or like, oh, there's like this greater world. It just feels like there's not really a greater world outside of the characters we follow and the drama that they're dealing with, like right then and there. Because I will say about Riverdale, one thing I do appreciate about the show, even though sometimes it is a little disappointing, is that they fly through subplots. Like, they introduce an idea, they run with it for like maybe an episode, and then by the end of the episode, they resolve it and they're like on to some new shit. Like, so much shit will happen in a season of this show. But I feel like with this season, we're just in the same antics. It's like the same 50s antics we were doing when we first started this season. And it was cool for the first like 6 to 10 episodes. But then after that, I'm like, okay, can we work our way back to the future, please? And see what that's all about. But the promo for episode 18. It's so funny because literally season 7, episode 17, Myles, ends with Archie's Uncle Frank getting really mad at him and screaming at him for writing poetry about his father who had passed away. Because again, it's the 50s and white boys not be writing poetry in the Archie Andrews household, in the Andrews household. And the promo for that's how episode 17 ends. The promo for 18, Joe K goes, in black and white, an atomic bomb is about to be dropped in Riverdale. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Talk about the most tonal whiplash ever. Imagine watching that live on TV. And I didn't have the buffer of having to go YouTube it. You just watch Archie get sad because his poem about his dad got ripped up by his uncle, and then an atomic bomb is going to be dropped in Riverdale, and it's all in black and white, and it's like, what the fuck is this Oppenheimer shit? Like,
do you think that was intentional that they did
yes,
it? Yes,
it's absolutely. It's Riverdale is so unabashed about shit like that. And it's so funny. When I watch I will say about the 50th season of Riverdale is I'm always trying to catch them say something out of pocket. And by that I mean say something modern or make some modern reference that they shouldn't know, or reference an event that happens in the 60s, 70s, or 80s. But so far they've been pretty good. I've been like, oh, wait a minute, and then I'd look it up and I'd be like, God damn it, fuck. But I'm sure there's mistakes. I'm sure it's CW. I'm sure there's errors. Historical errors.
The CW itself is an error. Like, I'm sorry. All I can think about now is we brought the atomic bomb to Fiji,
to Riverdale,
to Riverdale, with all the fixins.
All the fixins. We got goodbye written in 17 different languages.
Yeah. Oh my god! It just. There's something endlessly fascinating about Riverdale where I don't think I could watch it. I really don't. Like, I think that I would just, like, lose interest in it at some point. But
the problem is the first season's a tough sell because it's the most tame. And the real crazy shit is in seasons probably, like, 3 and beyond is, like, the insano shit. But, like, you need to be down for, like, high school drama, which is, like,
which I am, I guess, but like,
but I'm talking CW high school drama.
Yeah, like I want Veronica Mars, which I guess is also CW high school drama, to be fair, but like Veronica Mars is like real shit. Veronica Mars is, but I think your reaction to like Riverdale season 7, like that was my reaction to like Veronica Mars season 3, where I was like, what are you doing? Why am I still here? I actually had a Kazuhira Miller moment where I genuinely thought, "What? I am just here to suffer."
Yeah, like I know, I totally get that, and it's just like, and that's the thing is like I'm nearing the end of my rope, and I do low key eventually want to rewatch the series and just see for myself the evolution in retrospect, because a lot of this shit is just like they just come up with an idea and they just do it, and then they do another idea, and it's just. It builds to just insanity, to complete insanity. And I will say there is a lot of fan service in the final season that's really fun, where like they bring back some characters from past seasons to play like 50s versions of themselves in the new timeline, even though some shit doesn't really make sense because some people who shouldn't be in high school are in high school with them, and characters who are dead like are alive again. And they're relevant in the story, except are they relevant because it's the 50s timeline and this is a whole new universe? So like, because that's the thing, Myles, is one of the subplots is that two of the side characters, Fangs and Midge, have a child, or like Midge is pregnant, and they haven't told their like folks yet. And she's like a couple months along or whatever, and she's not sure what she's gonna do about it. And like and basically she ended up getting found out by Betty's mom when they were gonna do the like a beauty pageant type thing. She was going to participate, but Mrs. Cooper knew what was up. Probably because I think she had Polly out of wedlock, I think, or like high school drama in the original series, anyways. So she knows what a fucking teen mom looks like, teen pregnant mom looks like. So she gets kicked and sent to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, which is the in-show equivalent of jail for women. Like when a female character needs to get sent to like away, they go to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy.
I'm assuming it's like a boarding school, like, or like a
no, it's like
school.
It's like a religious institution. It's like a mental asylum.
Yeah, like one of those like deprogramming schools, kind of.
Yeah,
like,
they're hooked up with the Sisters of Quiet Mercy are entangled with the cult The Farm, which is one of the primary antagonists of seasons 3 and a bit of 4. And they're basically like an organ harvesting ring. Basically, they introduce people to get them to kill themselves, and then they harvest their organs and sell them on the black market.
This is a good idea.
Riverdale's fucked. Like, Riverdale's fucking wild.
That is genuinely a good idea.
And the best part is that The Farm is introduced through a character called Evelyn Ever and Ever. And her father, Edgar Ever and Ever, is the leader of the
That's also
farm.
my favorite name of all time, I think. Evelyn and Edgar Ever and Ever.
It's fucking awesome. And I will say, the introduction of Edgar Ever and Ever in the show, because he's one of those characters and Riverdale does this a lot, where they talk about a person a lot, and then they finally appear, and it's like, oh shit, that's them. That's literally them. His introduction is like super fire in the show. Actually really good. And really compelling TV. But one of the twists you find out is that Evelyn Ever and Ever is actually in her like early 30s and has been attending high schools all around the country, posing as a junior in high school to recruit young impressionable teens into the farm. And Edgar is actually her husband.
Oh my god!
He's like a polygamist, so she's like one of his wives.
I'm assuming, he's part of the cult, and so he's got many wives.
Because Betty's mom almost gets married to Edgar Ever and Ever too. That's one of the plot points of season 3. And but it's revealed at the end that she was actually faking it the whole time, which is bullshit. It's so bullshit, because the amount of pain she put Betty through that season is like so unconsciously fucked that it's like, oh, it was all for the story, Betty. It's like, you're evil. Alice Cooper is evil, but that's neither here nor there. It's a really fucking fascinating show. And anything you think happens or could happen in one of these kinds of shows, like, does happen, I feel. Archie goes to prison at one point. That's the start of season 3. It's fucking epic. It's so fucking sick. He gets involved in like a fighting ring at the prison where he fights other juveniles and gets broken out by his friends, but gets his name cleared like 2 episodes later. So like he off screen is like in the clear and could just go back to school. Like everything's okay. It's so like he didn't just break out of prison. I'm like, I don't know if it works like that. If you break out of prison,
think it does. I think
and then get exonerated of your original crime. I think you
still go. At least get parole. Like,
is it a crime to break out of a federal penitentiary? That seems like a really stupid question, but like, I gotta know. Like, is that an actual crime to break out? Like,
I guess the big question is it a crime, or do they simply add to your sentence? Because it might be a separate sentencing where, like, I mean, it's probably a crime. Anything where you get sentenced is probably deemed a crime, but like, whether or not it's a different kind of criminal offense, like you get sent back to prison. If you break out of prison and are exonerated after breaking out of prison, I think you still get punished, but you might not go to prison.
Yeah, maybe like some community service.
I imagine it's parole and time served. Like, you know.
Well, if you get exonerated, there's no need for parole. You're good. You're done. Like, you served your time, you're done.
Yeah,
parole is when you still have time left in your sentence, but you no longer need to be in the big house.
Yeah, like that's what I'm kind of thinking is like is it's some sort of system where they don't send you to jail, but you still have to serve some time. Maybe house arrest. They might put you on house arrest. I truly don't know. I think we might be morons.
You ever watch like videos of like kids or like teens getting like sentenced on like YouTube?
No.
Or like watching them like go to jail. I don't know. That's content I like. Cause you know me, I'm just fascinated by people going into the last bastion of insanity. Like on the earth. Like the last realm of lawlessness where truly anything fucking goes. And is a fucking hell house. It's like I'm both fascinated and terrified of the secrets within.
The evils within.
The evils within.
Yeah, I'm
the
really
resident evil.
Yeah, that is a very evil residence, to be fair. Prison, very evil residence.
They gotta set a Resident Evil game there. Resident Evil 9 should be set in a prison. That
is such a good idea. Like, you know what the problem is, though? Is, like, prison is such a, like, lame... That's like a Silent Hill setting. Like, a lame, like... Because the problem is that the map itself is so lame. Like, they would have to do something really crazy.
No, that's not necessarily true, Miles. Let me give you some of the biomes of the prison.
You got your courtyard, you got your gym.
Courtyard, there's the workout room, there's the cafeteria, which you could have a big fight in, and then of course
that's a boss arena. That's a nice boss arena.
And then, like, the kitchen, of course, like, you can have a fun encounter in the kitchen. And then, of course, you have a bunch of cell blocks.
But that's the big problem is the cell blocks. Like, keeping the cell blocks interesting is the hard part.
They could come up with Capcom's smart. They could come up with a creative idea.
Well, so,
like,
no, here's what
the prison was experimental or something, and each block is something different.
It's specifically, it's an umbrella prison. Or at the very least, now it's BSAA prison. And so the cell blocks were not designed for, like, actual prisoners. They were designed for experimentation. And so a lot of them are, like, built around, like, the kinds of viruses that they would inject you with. So maybe there's one cell block that, you know, that's where all the zombies are, or the zombie, like, you know, things, right? And so all the cell blocks are really, like, cramped so that viruses spread faster and no one can escape. You might have, like, a bigger cell block that's like for your hunters, like, so really high ceilings or something. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're right, Capcom can do that. Because I was picturing, like, the Silent Hill prison, where it's just a fucking prison with another texture over it.
And also, too, what you can do as well, Miles, to spice it up, is you can have the setting be, you start the game in the prison, and you do the prison for, like, 4 hours or whatever, 4 or 5 hours. And then you have to, like, leave the prison and go outside for an hour, and you have to go to the Supermax prison, where there's crazier.
No, here's enemies. The thing. So Resident Evil now has, like, the invincible boss. They keep doing this, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but the invincible boss, that's an ISO. That's an ISO right there. You're trapped in ISO with, like, a giant boss that you can't defeat until you pump noxious gas into the room and then throw a grenade through the slot that holds the door.
A boss fight in the shoe would be crazy,
right? Like,
and it's so fucking dark. It's just pitch black. You can only see from your fucking flashlight.
Here's what you do. Okay, here's another thing you do. Because Resident Evil loves its, like, underground subterranean areas, its mines. So it's one of those prisons where there's a courtyard where you break rocks. Right, like, this is one of those prisons where you got pickaxe time and chain gangs and all that. Oh, dude, no, that's an idea. A boss that's a chain gang, like, chain gang of, like, you know, some sort of mutated thing. And they all have, like, they're all one mass, but they're still chained up. Its legs are still chained up.
So it, like, kind of, like, hobbles around towards you.
Yeah, like a human centipede, but a chain gang kind of thing.
Oh,
right?
that'd be pretty horrifying.
Yeah, that's a good little enemy.
Yeah, Yeah, I feel like it's a great horror scoop, super scary setting.
But here's the
Resident
thing.
Evil.
It has to be the 10th game. It can't be the 9th game. Because then you can do Resident Evil Max Security.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's just called Resident Evil Maximum, because they like their one-word titles now.
I like the Maximum. Yeah, Maximum's
Maximum,
pretty good.
because it's a maximum security prison.
Yeah. Or Resident Evil Prison. I mean, they called it Village. It's not but out of
but
pocket.
you gotta have 10. You gotta have the 10 in there. So it's gotta be something with an X. So I'm thinking Maximum is the closest you're gonna get. No, I got it. Resident Evil Penitentiary.
That's it. That's
the one. They can't do the Roman numerals, but we got the 10 in there. Penitentiary. Yeah.
And hey, they flub the letters and stuff. They get the letters out of.
Oh yeah, with Village and Biohazard, they do a little something with it. Well, to be fair, Biohazard had a 7, so we can just do a straight up 10. That's an option. So yeah, Resident Evil Penitentiary.
Yeah, that would be a cool game. I'd play that.
I would love that. No, you wouldn't, Sam. you would play an hour of it, and then you'd go, I had fun, and you'd never. I had fun.
It. Yep. That's about right.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. Let's not pretend. Actually, if there's any Resident Evil game you're gonna finish, it would be Penitentiary.
Oh, easy, dude.
Because it's in prison.
Because I'm in on the setting. I'm just in on the setting.
Yeah, like I love a good like gothic, mansion. Whereas you don't care about gothic stuff much. It's not your speed. But like a prison. You're finishing that game. You're finishing that game, Sam.
Like that, I really want to play A Way Out. The only reason I haven't played a fucking Way Out is because I need a fucking friend.
I could play it with you. I didn't finish it, so I could play it. But.
Yeah, we should do that. Although my problem with The Way Out, and this is by the way, problem in like 5,000 air quotes here, and this is just my Sam King was fucking got issues, is that I don't think you're going to be in the prison long enough.
I can actually tell you up front, you're not.
That's disappointing to me,
right?
I wish
it's got to be a way out. It's got to be about but it's a symbolic way out, Sam. They got to find a way out of the lives that they used to lead into better lives. It's like I set it in jail.
It's like one of these things because I don't want to disrespect the.
No, Joseph Fares is lovely, and his ideas are great, and his games are good.
And that's not even necessarily what I'm saying is like, because I've seen like reviews and stuff and some clips of like what happens sort of post prison. I'm like, wow, the scope of this game is actually way bigger than I initially thought and perceived. And I don't want to take away from that added scope by just being like, yeah, but I wish we were in the cell block gray prison area for another 4 hours. Like
that. But to be fair, that is a great that would be good if they were still making, Brothers, right? Two Brothers, Tale of Two Brothers, whatever the first game was called.
Brothers, Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah, Brothers, Tale of Two Sons. Like, that would have been a way out, but just in prison. Probably would have been a good Brothers alternative take where, that's an economic game.
Yeah.
But Ferris is very ambitious. I get that.
Yeah, there's a game on Steam that that I have wish listed that's a prison game.
Is it Prison Architect?
No, it's not Prison Architect, but that game also looks interesting, and I want to play that. Although I'm kind of interested in playing Prison Tycoon, one of those games, because I just love the real old, low poly graphics of the orange jumpsuit prisoners as they, do wacky activities.
You know what they remind me of? They remind me of, Animal Crackers. Does this make sense to you? Just they have an Animal Cracker vibe.
I do kind of understand what you mean, but if you asked me to elaborate, I couldn't.
I couldn't either, though. That's the problem. I know what I'm saying is right. I just don't know how or why.
Do you think you know what it is, Myles? Do you think it's the way that they walk is the way that you would hop around an Animal Cracker as a kid?
Makes sense.
Do you think that's
the fucking Shirley Temple ass hobbling?
God, get all them DVDs. By the way, I was at a buddy of mine's house and he like had to go take care of something for like 15 minutes. So he's like, here, go on YouTube, watch something. So I ended up just watching 35 minutes of nostalgic early 2000s commercials that I love so much. And yeah, dude, fuck, man. It's always like DVDs of Shirley Temple, the Disney VHSs, a lot of food shit, the Billy Mays slider, make the fucking slider patties, fucking Betty Crocker, Betty Cocker.
It's so weird that was just like an era of time, especially this era of time in which like they tried to sell you shit that was like 90 years old, like the Shirley Temple DVDs, and I very much remember that commercial. Like I couldn't recite it for you, but like I remember
they're remastered in color.
Yeah, but I remember the flow of that commercial. Right, like they would show like a clip of it, and then there would be that warm voiceover saying like you can own all of these, you know, and then they would show another clip, a speaking clip. They would show a song at one point. It was always Animal Crackers,
and it's remastered in color.
Yeah, and that, but they did this for Little Rascals too. Like I don't know if they had commercials for it, but like I own this Little Rascals like DVD collection.
Yeah,
and it was just like what other than weirdos like me, like what child wants these black and white old ass confusing ass movies?
Did you ever have like the lots and lots of series, so like lots and lots of trucks, lots and lots of planes, lots and lots of trains?
No,
I had like a ton of those.
My parents didn't like get us DVDs that weren't like entertainment. You know what I mean? Like it always had to be like a scripted something. They wouldn't get us like a live action documentary style thing, because like lots and lots of trains and lots of planes.
Well, they're for kids. They
are. But like that's all. There's no script there. It's just about how great vehicles and transportation and engineering is, and like so there's nothing like offensive about it. But for some reason they just didn't. And I didn't ask for it, like, so it's not like they, like, denied me. Like, whenever there was, like, a made-for-TV infomercial, like, Moon Shoes or Floam, like, I would always ask and get suckered into that crap. Floam was garbage. They did buy me Floam at one point. It was utter shit. Just a complete fucking scam. I think I've told this story on the podcast.
You definitely have.
Sword.
My favorite that I always wanted were the soccer boppers.
Soccer boppers look fun, but like those things deflated so quickly. Like I had a friend who had Moon Shoes. They didn't work. Like, so my parents kind of understood, like, yeah, those are scams. We're not going to get those. But like, there was nothing wrong with the Lots and Lots series. You know, there's nothing wrong with like the Lionel Coin Bank or
oh my God, Lionel Coin Bank. Holy shit.
Yeah. The Lionel
with the
Coin
fucking,
Bank.
The train.
Yeah. Yeah.
The railroad crossing.
There was nothing wrong with any of those things. Like those were as advertised, but like I just never asked for them, and they would never go out and buy them. Like my parents were weird. They bought me a lot of like the stuff that I ended up enjoying, and like they would always get it in the strangest of places. So, like we got a copy of Parappa the Rapper 2 from a friend at a coffee shop who was just hey, your dad likes rap music, right? He might like this rap game. And it was not Parappa the Rapper 1, it was Parappa the Rapper 2.
Oh, yikes.
And by the way, and 2 is fucking fire. The problem is that
you like 2?
I love 2, yeah. I think 2 is awesome.
I thought 2 was like not a well-beloved game or something.
It's less well-liked than 1 and Jammer Lammy. Jammer Lammy, I think, has sort of become the crown jewel of the franchise in recent years. 2 is not as well liked for the story, but generally the music is considered better. I think that the major problem is just that it's too easy.
Okay, yeah.
But it has its fans. I think it's just the most obscure and the least popular. I would say it's the least influential of these games. It's endured the least, but the music is still very popular. Like you have Romantic Love and the Burger Song. Like a lot of those are still really like popular, beloved Parappa tracks, and it's very interesting because is
Parappa 2 the one with French the Fries?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I take back what I said. I like French the Fries.
It's great. Like Parappa 1 only has kind of 2 iconic songs. Parappa 2 only has 2 iconic songs. Jammer Lammy has no iconic songs. But like
despite it being the crown jewel of the franchise, it has not a single iconic track.
Yeah, I think it's just the one that fans like the most. Like true, like Nana Onsha fans like Jammer Lammy the most because it's the weirdest and it's the strangest. But like musically, Parappa 2 is the best one, and it's not even fucking close as far as I'm concerned. Like some of these tracks are so unbelievably fucking hot. Like the problem is that the game peters out musically. It just kind of gets worse. Like they started too strong with Beard Burgers. Beard Burgers is a masterpiece. And then Romantic Love is incredible. Romantic Love is that's another 10 out of 10 song. But
what track is that in the playlist?
It's number 2. It's the second song.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. So they really do come out with the best 2, and then it's all downhill.
Yeah, it's sort of I think the best way to put it is fucking Beard Burgers is Dark Souls. That's the Dark Souls, right? Whereas Romantic Love is Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne. Everyone really likes it, but in fact, everyone thinks it's God tier, incredible 10 out of 10. But Beard Burgers is the one that no one's yeah, man, this is as hard as Bloodborne. This is as hard as Dark Souls 3 because those games don't have the stamp. They don't have the cultural stamp of just using the word Dark Souls. Beard Burgers is the one and it's the one that endures and everyone likes it. And it's still this god tier masterpiece. Whereas Romantic Love, you gotta be a FromSoft fan to really care about Dark Souls 3, whereas culturally everyone cares about Dark Souls. Romantic Love, you really had to have played Parappa to like that song, but if you did, that's your second favorite song. And then you got Guru Ant's song Big, and that song is fucking awesome. There's no good FromSoft comparison for Big. I guess Demon Souls or
Sekiro
something.
Maybe,
yeah,
I don't know. But not as respected as the other two.
Yeah, I don't know, because then the problem is that Musashi's song might be Sekiro, because that's a perfect
makes that
song,
Sekiro?
But no one respects it. Whereas Guru Ant is really well liked. This is really hard. I'm gonna stop with the FromSoft comparisons because I've kind of lost the thread. And I didn't want to do Zelda, because why would I do that again?
Because I'm over it. Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear about that green bitch again in my entire life.
What about the blue bitch with his robot arm?
You mean with the fucking bird guy's arm?
Yeah.
He's not a robot arm. It's his bird dude's arm.
Yeah, but he's a dragon, so it's fine. Where the fuck was I? I mean, there's no good I guess Final Fantasy would be a better comparison for these, because there's so many more. Beard Burger, that's FF7, but Romantic Love, it's probably FF6 or FF4, another really respected one. And Guru Ant, it's probably 10 or 12, something like that.
Okay.
9 maybe. I'm gonna say 9, and then I'm gonna say that Musashi's song is 5. Almost no one talks about it, but it's still this great, incredible song. But then Hairdresser Octopus's song, that's FF 8. Or
just it's only appreciated by a few.
Yeah, and then the 6th one is a reprise, so I guess we'll call that one that one's Theatrhythm.
That's 7 remake.
No, because 7 remake would just be a Beard Burgers, a new Beard Burgers.
Oh, okay.
So
what's it's a reprise of what song?
Of all 5 songs from the previous ones.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I said Theatrhythm, or no, it's Dissidia.
Or Dissidia.
It's Dissidia, yeah. And then I don't know, the Commander Noodles song. This one's really tough. I don't know how to rank Commander Noodles' song, because that's a good song, but it doesn't have any impact. I guess Final Fantasy 3 would kind of be a good choice, because no one talked about that one. There's no
good
Final
song
Fantasy,
with no impact.
By the way. Yeah,
there's no
Final
3
Fantasy.
Works.
Yeah, so 3 works, and then the final song. I don't even know. I don't even know what to compare it to. 16, because it's shiny and overproduced. I don't know. Fuck it.
Have you touched 16 at all, by the way?
No, I think I'm feeling very similar with you to Pikmin 4, where I'm just Now it's out. I'll get it someday. That day won't come, by the way. At this point, I'm just kind of accepted. I'm probably never going to play FF16.
Yeah,
Like-
as somebody who's doing that with Pikmin 4, I can understand that.
Yeah,
Because I was talking to a buddy of mine. I'm like, I'm going to play fucking Mario Wonder in October, and I'm not probably going to turn my Switch on again for the rest of the year.
Yeah, why not? I'm telling you. Unfortunately, you are gonna have to hold out for that Yuzu development. But yeah, like Tears of the Kingdom, I think you got to play that on Yuzu and only Yuzu or Ryujinx if you have a lower end machine, because like it's just better. All the nonsense.
This is the shit I'm always talking about, Myles, about playing games on the goddamn computer. But
in particular, it's the mod scene aspect of it, because there's so many good like minor tweak mods that just preserve the original game experience. But like, just the camera moves faster if that's a problem for you. Is the Hylian shield too small?
Small? It can be 10% bigger.
20% bigger if you want to play as a taller Link. As I said, there is a close the mouth mod. Like, whatever nonsense problem you have. To be fair, we have not solved the Sage avatars. We haven't fixed that. Haven't fixed the menu. Can't really do that at that point. We're working on it, though. People are working on it.
Ball with no monkey.
Yeah.
Monkey with no ball.
Monkey with no ball.
Great mods.
If you want monkey with no ball, it's there.
Yeah, you need mods. You need mods. You
Well,
need to play on PC so you can use a square gate when you play Monkey Ball.
There's a couple of really cool ones, like that just make the game experience better, like no world limits, where like your vehicles just never despawn.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so like you could.
That shit annoyed the fuck out of me when I played.
So where it's just like where the vehicle just despawns quickly.
I'm just trying to get from point A to point B on my glider. Like,
so the thing about
penalize me.
Oh, well, no. So there is, the glider doesn't despawn, but I'm literally mean like you can leave a vehicle on the map 500 fucking feet away and it won't despawn. It won't disappear. Like, so it has just more memory allocated to the Zonai devices. So I have no problem with like the glider disappearing, especially because there's tricks to like chain the glider. So if it's about to disappear, you can put another one under your feet in midair. So that's really easy to do.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It just keeps the game engaging, like, and because otherwise you just be fucking putting the controller down until you get there. So
that's not true, because you need to maneuver the glider by like walking around it.
Assuming that you're high, assuming like you actually need to steer it.
Yeah, which was all the time, because I'm not using my fucking controllers on that. Are you kidding me?
That's fair. Yeah, your steering sticks are too precious. To be fair, they actually discovered that if you get the glider facing backwards and flying backwards, it will never despawn. So that's amusing.
That's good to know.
Yeah, just a lot of that game is really cool. Like, but it's really cool especially if you're like aware of like some of the community finds that just make like just prove like all the nonsense that you can do. I feel like you're not as much about just being like, oh, you can do this, therefore I will do this, and just do this cool thing. Like, I think you're more like Firebrand type kind of guy, where you're just like, I don't feel like doing it, so I just won't. Which is valid. I'm not insulting that, but like, I definitely get really into that whenever there's like a new discovery of like, oh, this new part has a low gravity effect. I'm like, ooh, all right, I gotta snatch that up.
I just need like, my problem is just like, I need the game to like motivate me to like do shit, either through like difficulty and like needing to engage in like a certain type of play style or strategy, or be rewarded in other ways. Like, for example, you get more red orbs in DMC when you get a higher rank, which encourages you to play better and play to the game's specificities. Like, right now I'm playing through Baldur's Gate 3, and I was really coming up against some real fucking struggle with one of the early dungeons, and I was just like not dealing enough fucking damage and was just getting overwhelmed by enemies. I'm like, this is not fucking working. And I really thought about it, and I kind of switched up my spells on a couple of my casters, and came in with like a more like, I'm gonna group the enemies together. I'm gonna try to use an explosive to like really take out a bunch of them immediately and get like and try to like game it out and use all the systems available to me to be creative. And when I did that, not only was I able to win, I was able to win like pretty good, pretty hard, like with a pretty clean W. So that was really rewarding because I felt like I used the game systems and creativity and was actually rewarded for it because like just doing it fucking raw is like not it. And this is just, I think, the thing with most Nintendo games that is fine. This is just how they are. But like they're just not interested in providing they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to play a very specific way, because Tears of the Kingdom was pretty good for the first like 20 hours at that, and then you get enough hearts and then you can take a hit, and then as long as you have like some food on you can be relatively okay. But like a lot of times, like most, I mean, like look at Mario. Like Mario never pushes you until the absolute very end of the post campaign, when you get maybe a level or like a world that's like really just fucked, like really balls hard. And I don't want the whole game to be like that, but I want the
you want
ramp.
smatterings. You want smatterings of it, like
yeah. I want the ramp to be more like, I want it to be more gradual and actually get more difficult and require more from me.
I think the problem is that Nintendo games just get more and more elaborate, but not necessarily difficult. Because I noticed this especially like with like Mario 3D World, where 3D World never really gets harder. It's just that the gimmicks just get more and more like elaborate and more more complex. And I like 3D World a lot. Like I have no problem with that, but and to be fair, I think that's a good way to address difficulty, because I'm sorry, Sam, most gamers are babies. Most of them are bad at video games. And it's like,
dude, I know this to be true.
And so like that's why like I think I've just adapted to the idea of like, yeah, games are not going to push me with difficulty. It's just not going to happen. Like there's going to be so fucking few of these games where I actually feel challenged by any of it. And the problem is that I'm just good at games to begin with. Like rarely,
I don't even need to. It's not even necessarily like difficulty, Myles. I need to be pushed on like in just like a basic way. Like I need to be challenged, and there needs to be some friction with like what I'm doing in order to feel anything.
I'm a very like I really like just like coming up with my own solutions and then doing them. I always find that pretty like interesting, and especially the idea of like, okay, well, I've been doing this way too much, I'll try something else this time. Like I enjoy a nice open-ended game. I think that's pretty clear at this point. Like I think the one thing about like Elden Ring that I couldn't get into, besides the enemy design, was like a lot of the builds that I was like looking into and that I was like seeing people talk about, they were all about optimizing a single move, like all of them. And it's just not my thing, right? Like it's just not my thing to play a game that's so like stale. And I don't think Elden Ring really is supposed to be so stale. I think it's very much supposed to be more versatile, which is why I found such a kindred spirit with like faith builds. Because faith builds are really versatile, as opposed to like fucking int builds. It's just, the problem is that Glintstone Pebble is so unbalanced. It's so needlessly powerful. It costs nothing, and it deals such good, appreciable damage. Like, for a while, it literally was, I think it is still, the highest tiered spell on every intelligence tier list. It's the default spell, Sam.
Yeah, it's the quickest and fastest dealing, and the way the scaling works, you can get good enough damage off of Pebble.
Yeah,
it's hard to justify using the other spells.
I like that Faith has such long casting times. Like, Catch Flame is quick. It's probably your quickest spell, but it's close range. You literally have to be in the range of the opponent. Whereas, like, Lightning Spear and, like, Fireball and all the other Fireball variants, like, a lot of those have such long cast times, but they're versatile. So I ended up really liking the Faith build, but even then, at some point, like, I was just kind of locked in my ways where it's like, well, shit, I built myself into a character where if I'm not two-handing my sword and I'm not using this one spell, I'm just not getting appreciable enough damage to justify the use of it. And so like I prefer to like just have a lot of options where if something gets like old or if something has different requirements, I can really kind of suit up in my own way and just try and take it on in a way that's more interesting for me. I was considering doing this current Tears of the Kingdom playthrough that I have set up because I got a save set up with just like all the stuff that I want to get started with. So just like the outfit I like to wear from jump, so I don't have to go out of my way to get it.
What is the outfit you like to wear?
It's just the fucking outfit that is in all the trailers, you know, the champion's leathers with the Lord Hylian hood and the trousers, like nice and simple, nice and quick to get. But I was like, dude, there's an option to turn the paraglider off in this save editor. Like, I was straight up about to turn the fucking paraglider off and just kind of see like what that felt like for an entire game. Cause you kind of ride or die on some of your like Zonai devices at that point, and on like just if you want to get down to the depths, like you have to like build a contraption to egg drop yourself into the depths without dying. Like, that's kind of sick. But then I was also like, but the combat is affected. Like, that affects the combat a bit. So I'm undecided if I'm gonna do a no paraglider run, because it's possible in this game. It's actually completely possible to do no paraglider. But it's impossible to do no paraglider 100% because then you don't get the camera.
Oh, okay.
And you can't fill out the map. So, but with this fucking save editor, you just get the paraglider from Pura, and then you go to the fucking save editor and you turn it off. And that's that. So I'm trying to decide, like, if I really want to like go that hard in the paint with the challenge.
Do it for shits and gigs, Myles. Do it for shits and gigs.
I'm thinking about it, but like I'm also like, God, it would be, but it's like more fun because I just love the fucking ability to just, all right, I'm done here. I'm just going to leap off and I'm just going to get to the next fucking location. I just love that level of like, of complete and total, like, if you want to do it, you just get to do it. It's so nice. But also, those Zonai devices are going to go to fucking work for me without that paraglider. Like, so I'm really weighing the pros and cons. I'm really not sure. But yeah, like, I love a nice challenge run. I really do. But then I also miss, like, the freedom of just being able to just do whatever I come up with right away and just watch to see if it works or not. So that's always what really, like, gravitates me towards those kinds of games. But, like, unfortunately, all those games are so easy. And, like, and that's why, like, for as much as I'm like, dude, Death Stranding, man, like, that game... I don't know what anyone's talking about where they're like, that game is so frustrating, so hard, I fall over all the time. It's like, did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep while holding the W key? Is that how you fell over? It's probably how you fell over. Like, it's just not a hard game. It's just not hard. And I would love it if it was fucking ball busting and really, like, really dedicated to this terrain stuff. And it is, to be fair. It's more dedicated than any other game, but, like, it's not as hard as babies just fucking make it out to be. And I would love it if these games were harder.
Because that's the thing, dude, because I recently, like, replayed Sekiro a few weeks ago, and I beat fucking Sword Saint Ishin in, like, fucking 2 tries, and I'm like, dude, this is the most overhyped fucking boss fight in human history, maybe. Like, it's people are crazy. It's like, if you take 5 minutes to think that you're playing a fucking game where the enemy has like 5 attacks, learn how to fucking dodge the 5 attacks, and you're good. Like, and you're gonna be fine. Like,
this is my thing with FromSoft, especially in like the back 9 of their career.
You can make
so
like
far.
so many mistakes. Like,
but my big thing is
especially
that, like,
at the end.
The problem is that their mechanics can't get any more difficult because the appeal of the game is how simple it is to play, and just that there's all these like limiting systems that make you get into this mindset of like, all right, I can't play this game like a complete and total ape. I actually have to think. Like, so you have the stamina bar that you gotta manage, and then you have these long committal animations, but then the rules of combat aren't hard at all. You roll and you memorize 4 attacks, and you win. And like, that's fun and it's good and it's nice. I like it. Everyone likes it. It's a success. But like, the back half of their career is just like, the only thing they can do for more difficulty is just to make the enemies the worst. Just make them attack in ways that are silly and nonsensical, and they have the longest animation hang times. And like that, and then it's funny because then you have all these like Souls like diehards, right? Who are like, yeah, Elden Ring's the easiest game in the franchise. That's the easiest one. It's like, of course it's the fucking easiest one because you metagame the shit out of it and you leveled up, like, and you didn't actually make a go of Margit early game. You fought him at level 78. You know, of course he's easy. Like, but then you also have people who are like, yeah, it's the hardest of these games. And it's like, it's not hard. It's just, there's just nonsense.
It just depends on what you fucking did in your playthrough and when you did it. Like, because you're exactly right, Myles. Like, my first playthrough of Elden Ring, I fought fucking Margaret for like an hour and was getting nowhere, was getting like a half health at the most. And it was just not working. And then I realized that this isn't fucking Dark Souls and it's Elden Ring.
And you just
and
go somewhere else.
Other place. Yeah, exactly. I can go elsewhere. And so I came back 20 levels later and kicked his ass.
Yeah, which I'm not a fan of personally. Like, I like how committed Dark Souls is to like, hey man, this is the boss. You either do it or you don't. Which you don't really have that moment in Elden Ring, but like that, there's an appeal to that as well, especially the idea that like you don't have to be trapped.
I think that's the reason why Elden Ring is appeal to so many.
It's the most popular one.
Yeah, more people is because like, yeah, like if you play Dark Souls 3 and like you can't beat fucking Vort of the Boreal Valley, like tough shit. Like you're seeing 1 hour of what like basically what that game has to offer. Like, and like most people just like they're because they're lame bitches. They try something for like 3 or 4 times and they can't do it and they give up.
Right, which is why all these games are fucking easy. Like, I don't mind dying on occasion. Like, I like the fact that, like, especially in Tears of the Kingdom, because of the way that I was playing, I was still dying in endgame, but that's because I challenged myself to not upgrade my character because I don't like how easy the game gets. But, like, I've played enough games where it's like, yeah, okay, there's 1 or 2 bosses that really kick your ass, and that's always exciting, and it's always memorable, and you can remember that. Like, it doesn't have to be hard the whole time. It just has to...
It doesn't have to be ball busting. I gotta be honest, a lot of games people think are super hard that I've played, I really don't think are that ball busting.
No,
like,
and again, like, you only need 1 or 2, like, bosses that'll wall you for 30 minutes. Like, for it to feel like, yeah, man, that was tough and memorable. I really overcame something that time. Like... You just need to do it once or twice, you know?
Yeah, I was talking to one of my good buddies who's trying to beat Hades right now, which is a fucking awesome game, by the way, Myles. Highly recommend. That. By the way, Hades does some shit where it has 6 weapons you can play with, but every time you enter the arena to, like, where you choose your weapon and you choose your starting gear before you enter the mayhem, one of the 6 will randomly be just glowing with an aura, and you get plus 20% of the like upgrade consumable if you pick that item. So I'm like, that's great because I'm just gonna pick whatever I get the bonus for. And you know what that meant, Myles? I used all the fucking weapons.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because like that's good. That's fucking smart game design there. And I was talking to him about how, like, the Hades boss fight is really overwhelming and, like, really tough and, like, hard to understand the first, like, few times you do it. But once you beat him once and you have an understanding of, like, his attacks and how the boss fight works, he's super easy every other time you do it. And it's almost going to be a guaranteed W for you when you get to him. Unless you're super low on health from boss 3 or you got really unlucky in the gauntlet and level 4. But... yeah. God, that game's so fucking good, Myles.
I like a boss that you could fight again and it's the easiest thing in the world. Like the second or third time you do it. Like it's so satisfying. I feel this way with like Mendez and Resident Evil 4. Once you know he's weak to fire, it's just like you just save your and then the game becomes fun in a different way because now you have to carry these incendiary grenades around when you at a point when you have very limited space. Like, and so you kind of have to preserve them or like really manage your inventory. And so retroactively, the chapters before Mendez become more fun because now there's more of a management puzzle to it. You when you get to plan for that, you get metagame for that, like, and it has a real time effect.
Yeah, like in my recent Dark Souls playthrough, which I technically still need to beat. Like I've unlocked the Kiln of the First Flame, but I was trying to do some trophy grinding. I want to get the platinum, but man, you got to get a lot of rare weapons. You got to get a lot of shit. Although I basically
did get the platinum. Actually, I think I did.
It's not that hard, really, at all. The only major trophies I really just need to get are all the pyromancy, sorcery, and miracle trophies, plus the remaining like rare weapons I still need, which just requires a lot of grinding. But playing through Dark Souls 1 with like the intent to like see all the content, which is not really a way I've played through the game before, made me appreciate so much of that game that like I didn't even really see or feel in like 160 hours prior. Just like all the different like, dude, in Dark Souls 1 has like fucking 6 different Titanite like chunks, like there's red, there's like and blue 7 and different white
forms of Titanite that all have different upgrade trees.
There's so much different upgrade trees, and there's like 3 different blacksmiths, and they all do like totally different shit. Because you got to get +5, you got to get max upgrades to like all the different each weapon type. Which I've never really like. I fucked with in 3 because it's the implementation of it is just a bit more straightforward and a bit more like user friendly. But in this game, it was just cool to like walk around and actually use like a chaos weapon and like swing a lightning spear. Like I just never used these weapons before ever. And it was fun to just like play, just throw on shit and keep it very casual and fun. And yeah, that game's relaxing as fuck. That game is super chill now.
Oh yeah, because that's what it's supposed to become. Like it feels like playing Resident Evil again, where it's just like it's like returning home, and you just go through the motions again.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. That's what Dark Souls and like Dark Souls 3 and honestly all the From Software games more or less are for me. Is it's just like fun, chill, because it's like I know I put the time in, I know how these games work, I know the ins and outs, so I can just play it and enjoy it. And I will say about Sekiro that I actually think I think a majority of the attacks in Sekiro are pretty reasonable. Some of them look a little whack, but like it's to throw you off. And
so far I haven't run into an enemy where I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this, like I felt that way constantly in Elden Ring, where I would see people holding attacks at a point where all I could think is, if this was a real fight, you would be dead for even attempting this. For even trying to fake someone out for this long.
It's
I think my problem with it is that it just looks heinous. It just looks stupid. And I have an aversion to like, this is my thing with Super Smash Bros. Because I got really into Ultimate within the last couple months. Like I've been grinding out my Link. And I can do a lot of really cool shit with that character now. But like there are some characters in Ultimate that they have a lot of, like, there's some bullshit characters, like Pyra and Mithra, Joker are considered, like, pretty absurd. Even though I don't think Joker's hard at all, I can take him on just fine.
Yeah, Steve's the controversial one.
The controversial one, yeah. Min Min's really controversial because no one likes her because she's just very boring to fight. Just no matter, it's just always a boring matchup. But, like, I don't mind any of those characters. Most of the people I hate fighting are a lot of the D tier characters. Because most of them have attacks that look so stupid that I hate that they're even throwing them at me. I hate having to witness them. Where I'm like, why do you look like this? Why would anyone animate this character to do this, to present this way?
What's one of the moves that really grinds your gears?
Oh my god, every fucking DDD move is so obnoxious. King K. Rool is also really lame. King K. Rool has one of the most like boring, like especially online. Dude, Smash Ultimate Online is a different game. It is a worse game.
Yeah,
than Smash.
You're playing
friends.
with like 18 frames of fucking input lag, which is like horrendous.
Oh, it's terrible. And like even with an Ethernet cable, like because I'm running Ethernet cables with my friend, like it's still not great. Like I think it's like 6 frames of input lag. It's not good. But
Myles, you could be playing Street Fighter 6.
I can't afford Street Fighter 6. What are you talking about? I could be playing Street Fighter 6.
You could. I'm just saying, like you could be playing. You could be playing that.
I don't own the game right now, so I could. I'm sure I could, and I'm sure I could experience good rollback netcode. If anyone wants to support me on my non-existent Patreon to buy a copy of Street Fighter 6,
the Myles Street Fighter 6 GoFundMe
GoFundMe, yeah, it's $70 plus tax. But like. A online King K. Rool is one of the most lame characters you'll ever see because they cycle between the same two attacks. To be fair, online Pyra is very similar. It's just constant side B. She just can't stop throwing Flame Nova and hoping, or is it? I don't remember which attack it is. And hoping you run into it. Like, that's like their maneuver. And so I hate playing people who just all they do is throw out the same move and just hope you get caught by it. And especially when the moves look stupid. Those are the worst. Like every King K. Rool move looks fucking dumb. Every Dedede move looks fucking
Come on,
dumb.
you don't like when he whips out the big gun and shoots the cannonball?
No, and you know what the problem is, Sam? I think I just hate Donkey Kong Country retro games. Like, it is really funny to think that retro games basically made me respect that franchise, because Returns, and especially Tropical Freeze, are like amazing, are just like incredible, perfect, amazing takes on this IP that, I'm gonna be honest, is fucking lame.
Fuck you, dude. No, Donkey Kong's cool. I agree that, like, I'm not crazy about the greater Donkey Kong lore. I'm like I don't really care about, but I like Donkey Kong as a character, and I like
Donkey Kong as a character.
I think DKC 1 and 2 are good games. Like,
my problem is first of all, the screen real estate is so small. Like, so there's no platforming.
Common Super Nintendo problem.
It didn't have to be. It just was for some reason. Like, Mario World is nice and compact. Like, that game.
Yeah, same with Mega Man X.
Yeah, like, I think it's just a case of a lot of people were like, oh, we can do bigger sprites. That'll look better. And it's like, yeah, here's the problem, my friend. But yeah, Mega Man 7's like this as well, where like the platforming is so cramped. Which is why Mega Man 8, like, for as much problems as that game has, like, I find it more fascinating than 7.
I think I like 8 more than 7, I think.
Yeah.
I need to replay both.
You've definitely said that before, and I can buy that, but yeah, it's just like
8's got other shit going on that I like. Like, I think it's a really beautiful game. I think all the pixel art's really
the music's
dope.
great too.
The music's so fucking based in fucking 8, man. I love like Freeze Man's theme and all that shit. Search Man's theme. Dude, Aquaman's theme on the Sega Saturn version is so gas.
Well, now you gotta play the Sega. The problem is that the Tengu Man version on Sega Saturn is worse. So it's a trade-off.
You gotta pick your choice.
Yeah, you gotta choose which song you don't mind being worse.
Someone needs to mod Mega Man Legacy Collection 2 to include Aquaman's theme is Sega Saturn version.
Yeah, and then you can play the PS1 version and live a happy life.
And also, doesn't the Sega Saturn version have a Cutman boss fight too?
Cutman and Woodman.
Oh yeah, that's sick. Yeah. But yeah, we get the fucking PS1 port always in the collections. I that shit always bothers the fuck out of me. Can't we get the definitive version of the game?
Maybe it's an issue of just how Saturn emulates. Maybe it's just harder to emulate, especially in a collection like that.
Apparently, Saturn Mini, like, remember when all those mini consoles were coming out like a few years ago? Apparently, they were gonna do like a Saturn Mini, but they had problems with the emulation. It might still happen, but I think that time is come and gone.
Yeah, and it sucks. It's a shame because, like, no console is planning on being emulated. Like, it doesn't happen. I think, generally speaking, if your architecture is good, it'll be easy to emulate your console, which is probably it's a double-edged sword for a company, but it's probably just good for the economy of the console while it's still active.
Yeah.
Because it means that it's easy enough to develop for. But yeah, like something like the Saturn, like I know a lot of these enhanced games like had major problems. Like I know the Symphony of the Night Saturn port is like
that version's fucked. That version is fucked.
Even though it has more content and it has different characters, like it's worse. It's just fucked because they didn't know what they were doing. with the
every
Saturn.
fourth column of pixels is doubled.
It's amazing.
In
It's
that
actually
game.
incredible.
It's horrifying.
And it's funny because like Saturn has a lot of good games, but only exclusives. Any attempt at like a port is garbage in some way.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, not a the PS3 of its era. Fucked architecture and very hard to develop for.
Yeah.
So unless it was, as you said, an exclusive like developed Prime and Prime for the Sega Saturn, you're not going to get stuff. And also, it also hurts that as we're both Americans, the Sega Saturn US is significantly worse, or probably two tiers below the Japanese Sega console.
Well, it's interesting because like I feel this way about the Famicom, but not the Super Famicom. I think the Super Famicom and the SNES are like the same, more or less, as far as I can tell. But like the Famicom is just a better console, with one exception, which is Zelda 2. But otherwise, it's better sound chip. Like I think more games had battery saves than on the NES.
Yeah, there's HPR Shredder, great fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah, I like his stuff.
He really goes into a lot of the differences between like the Famicom versions and the NES versions of a lot of the games he covers. And I was actually pretty fucking stunned at like how different like some of the versions are. Like I think like Metroid
has a save. Metroid has a save function in Japan.
But it also has like other things like in the actual game world beyond that are like patched or changed or slightly altered. I don't remember too much of the specifics.
It's interesting because I feel like in general American versions of these games tend to be more thoroughly patched, but the Famicom version is just more technologically superior in some capacity. There will always be something better about those versions, like from a gameplay standpoint, but then from a glitch or like a performance standpoint, the NES version tended to be better in some way.
Yeah. The biggest jump for me is Contra NES to Contra Famicom. Contra Famicom has animated like trees in the first level. Just way more animation for the backgrounds and the environments.
Animated water too, right?
And cutscenes too. Yeah. And cutscenes in between the stages.
Which obviously they don't even do for fucking Contra 3, like.
Yeah, it's so dope. It's so sick. And then the European version, Probotector, where all the sprites are swapped out.
Yeah, which I don't know why that is, other than that Europeans are
pussies.
Yeah,
Euro pussies.
They are like, oh, murdering humans? Now that's a problem. Well, you know that they changed it to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in some parts of Europe.
TMHT. That doesn't quite roll off the tongue the same way.
No, especially if you're British.
You think they ever changed it back? You think like they ever had like a Dragon Quest moment where they're like,
probably,
fuck it, probably. No more Dragon Warrior. No more Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Yeah, because I think the idea is that ninjas were not associated like positively, which they haven't been prior to. Like, I'm sorry, like ninjas were never positively associated ever in history. It's never like the only people. I'm sorry, Canon Films, Golan and Globus did the most possible good for ninjas that anyone has ever done. Because otherwise, throughout history, they've been fucking disgraceful, like as a concept.
Yeah, these people who hide in the shadows and dishonorably take out.
Yeah, like they're assassins, like and no one likes them or respects them.
Yeah, definitely quite a far cry from the honorable samurai.
The honorable samurai who would literally kill himself if he lost in a fight.
Yeah, those days. You ever wonder what it would be like if you fucking got transported back to like that era and you'd be like, this is fucked. Like this like you probably can't see shit.
Expectations, yeah.
You can't see shit because there's no electricity. Like you look up in the sky and there's so many fucking stars because there's no light pollution. Like, you ever think about that shit?
Oh, well, here's what's interesting. I know that the Grimgar VN, I think even the anime discussed this as well. The character gets isekai'd, right? And he doesn't know how to do laundry. Which is like so factual. Like, I wouldn't know how to do laundry with a laundry line and a wash basin. Like, and so he's just like, he has to be taught how to do laundry. Like, in this isekai'd world.
Yeah, and probably a myriad of other fucking
Some basic ass tasks, like
basic interactions that you just can do in all your games,
like,
that you don't even have to think twice about.
It's really funny too when you think about like all these like fantasy stories. It's like, I don't know how to ride a fucking horse. If I had to ride a goddamn horse, I wouldn't know what to do.
I love that. That's like my favorite thing in media, is like, especially when watching a movie that stars like regular ass human beings, is like watching and seeing how far I could get in the film and the film storyline.
Well, that's why Survivor is so appealing. That's literally like what Survivor, because here's the thing, everyone thinks they can win Survivor. You can't win Survivor.
No, dude, I got recommended a like a vertical video, like a YouTube short, Survivor, of like radical transformations on the island, and it's people who like look good and then they look fucking emaciated at the end, and I'm like, oh my god. Like,
so there's this thing called Ponderosa, which is like whenever you get eliminated but you're on the jury, you get to stay at a little like resort that they set up on the island, and they will like, they'll do medical evaluations, they'll see how you're faring, if you're sick at all, or
they'll
anything
feed
like that.
you up.
Well, obviously, you get to eat well while you're waiting for the finale. And so, like, a lot of people, like, when they get voted out, they don't mind because they just get to go to Ponderosa and chill. And a lot of them just have fun, or, like, they just kind of say, hey, bygones, good game, tried your best. But one thing that they do is that they'll show, like, Ponderosa behind the scenes on DVD and Blu-ray editions. And they'll weigh the contestants, and a lot of them lose, like, 30, 40 pounds. On the island.
I can believe it.
Yeah,
because
like
they're only eating fucking.
They get rice
and
they get rice and they get fish and coconuts, and if they can, they're lucky if they can catch a chicken.
Yeah, it's God, it couldn't be me, dude. Couldn't be me. I know last week we made our Survivor stats and everything. I actually couldn't do it.
No, I would like to be on Survivor only for the challenges. Like, the social part of the game sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Is this what Big Brother is, Myles?
Yeah, no, Big Brother is literally just the social game.
Survivor without the Survivor aspect?
I think so.
The big-ish IMO with fucking Big Brother is that there's too many episodes in a week. You gotta watch like 3 episodes a week when Big Brother's on.
That's what was nice about Survivor, is there's like 16 episodes in a season.
Especially now, right, with the shorter days.
Yeah, I think there's still 16 episodes, which is unfortunate. I haven't gotten there. I haven't.
Are you watching the series linearly, or
yeah.
are you just picking seasons?
But the thing is, I'll also watch these like videos about it. Just, I don't know, just because I can't help myself. And to be honest, like, I'm not that invested in like, oh, who's gonna win? Who's gonna the drama? Like, I'm just not that invested in it. I like seeing the game unfold, and I like a lot of the bullshit, and I especially like a lot of the personalities. Like, I watch it for the people on Survivor. Like, all the game moves are not necessarily as interesting to me. I like the challenges. I really love watching the challenges. But yeah, like, I made a mistake. I said that there were 2 winners at war, and then I got to season 20, which is actually heroes versus villains, and I was like, shit.
By the way, I actually watched live with my mom the last like 5 or 6 episodes of that season. That season is fucking gas, by the way.
Oh yeah, even people say it's the best one.
I know, which is awesome. It's this has happened twice in my life where I have just happened to stumble on what is possibly the peak of like the whole fucking media. I'm pure random happenstance. But with Survivor, and then one of my first introductions to wrestling was WrestleMania 25 with Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Which, Myles, I don't know if you've seen this match, but it is genuinely one of the greatest like 30 minutes of TV you could ever fucking witness. It's literally like fucking heaven versus hell. Fucking Shawn Michaels, if he loses against The Undertaker undefeated, he's got to retire from fucking wrestling. And he puts on the fucking match of a lifetime. Both of them do. It's fucking awesome. And even as someone who didn't even really know shit about wrestling as a 11-year-old, I was like, I am invested. I totally am invested in what's going on right now. And the drama of the ring.
I would love to get into wrestling. I really would. But that's one of those things where it's just like, the time is just over. The time is not now, John Cena.
The thing with wrestling is that 10% of wrestling is phenomenal, some of the best storytelling ever. And then 90% of it is just bullshit. And your wrestling fanship is how much you like appreciate and enjoy the technicalities, the sort of the intricacies of the 90% bullshit.
Yeah, and again, like I know people who watch wrestling once a week, and because you're kind of always hoping to catch something really cool, and because hey, you're there, and Sam died, Sam is dead, his life is forfeit. I don't know how it happened, but it's over. If you want to be a true crackhead, make sure to check out the Discord. Join us in the Discord if you